The next wave of strikes has just begun, and I want to go over two specific strikes. Two union organizations that are fighting for more money, better pay, better hours, all those things. But as an employee, if you are affected or you are part of these strikes, let me know down below. I'd love to find out. But you need to understand that unions only know one thing, and that's fight, fight, fight. And they don't understand who they're fighting in this situation. The fact is, more and more employees around the nation cannot survive. They do not make enough money to pay their bills because the government, using central banks, have created this inflation. End of story. And like we've seen with so many things where sometimes the government gets involved and puts their meddling little hands, like in California, saying, hey, fast food workers should make X amount per hour. I don't even remember how much it was. And they won. And then all of a sudden you find out, no problem. We're going to fire half of our employees because we cannot pay those kind of salaries. We're going to employ AI and robots to do their jobs. Unions do not understand that they're about to fight for more pay and they are going to lose lots and lots of jobs. As a matter of fact, what unions should be doing is really standing behind. And I'm going to be straight honest. If you are working for a union that is standing up behind the Democrats, you need to go find another line of work, or you need to fire your union representatives. The Democrats right now want to do things like unrealized gains tax you on something you don't have in your pocket. Sure, your house went up. So what? You need to live somewhere. You're not selling it, but you're going to get taxed. They want to raise capital gains tax, and they say it's for the rich, but just, you know who owns most of the stock market? It's 401ks. It's your retirement system. So when you go to sell something, you're going to pay a higher tax. The middle class is who's going to get hurt. That's who they're going after. They're not going after their own money. Remember, pretty much everybody in Congress is an elitist. Type 1 if you agree with that. And you want to know why I can say that, even though I know they're all paid for puppet pawns on both sides of the aisle. But you know how I can say that fully with 100% confidence? You can see someone like the two presidents ago walk in there with zero net worth, and all of a sudden they're worth so much money, it's stupid, and they've got all these homes. You've got to realize that these congressmen and women are elitist. They write the laws so that they don't go to jail. They keep themselves out. They get to do insider trading. They get to do all kinds of things that you or I cannot do. It's disgusting. So if you work for a union that is striking, or they are backing the Democratic Party, you need to wake up real quick. Type 2 if you agree with that. Here we go. First strike that's just been announced. 33,000 Boeing union workers go on strike. It's the first major walkout since 2008. Now, when I say strike, I want you to think about disruption. The word disruption. What is this strike going to disrupt if it is going on for a long time? All right. Members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, which represents 33,000 Boeing employees at factories near Seattle and elsewhere, overwhelmingly rejected a historic contract offer with the troubled plane maker and voted to go on strike. So let's focus on that phrase right there first. The troubled plane maker. Okay? Airlines are not moving as many airplanes today as they did a couple of years ago. This is a fact, which means you're seeing a lot of major airlines canceling contracts for new airplanes. On top of that, obviously, Boeing has had tons of problems and been in the press with all of these failures on their aircraft, okay? So they are already in crisis mode. So now let's stack something else onto it, all right? It says IAM said 94.6% of union members rejected the contract offer from Boeing, which called the offer historic and highlighted the 25% wage increase over 4 years. That's wild. The largest ever general wage increase. About 96% of union members approved the strike, now unfolding at the plane makers' Seattle factories that make the 737 MAX. They said here, and this is what the union stated, and then we're going to get into the next strike. And the next strikes could be pretty bad. We are incredibly proud of the hard work and dedication shown by our negotiating teams from District 751 and W24 and the unwavering solidarity of our membership. Their tireless efforts have been on display throughout the entire process. Now they will regroup and begin planning the next steps on securing an agreement that our membership can approve. We will make every resource available to these two districts members during this challenging time. IAM members across North America stand in solidarity with our Pacific Northwest in California. Our goal is to get a strong contract that meets the needs of our members. Let me be really clear to the people that belong to these unions. Our economy is collapsing. The Democratic Party wants to destroy the middle class, which is all of you. Everybody that works in this union is part of the middle class. They want to destroy you. You need to be very careful how you vote and who you back up. Our economy is collapsing because inflation has risen so much, and the government is lying to you about how much the inflation is. They take away the most important parts of those inflation numbers, and they want to tell you that everything's fine. And when they lower rates, just, to lie to you more, to tell you the economy's doing good, it's going to spike inflation. Okay, that means less people flying on planes, less planes that airplane companies need, which means you're out of work. End of story. So let's move on to the next one. All right, here we go. You can tell the ninja's fired up because this is insane. Potential port strike has retailers and manufacturers scrambling. Retailers and manufacturers are seeking to mitigate a potential multi-billion-dollar hit if members of the International Longshoremen Association go on strike beginning October 1st at 13 of the nation's major East Coast and Gulf Coast ports. Can you imagine what would happen if they start striking and they affect 13 of our nation's major ports? Now, something I want to explain about shipping and receiving when it comes to these large ships. You can't just sit there and, let's say, ships are always going into the port of Los Angeles. And we saw this actually with what happened with that big breakdown when all of the ships were, stacking up in LA during COVID, and we saw the satellite photos of them all just sitting there. They couldn't do anything. Well, there's a port right up the road, right? Oakland. You can't just sit there and go, hey, let's just start diverting, because they already have set contracts and only a certain amount of employees and equipment to offload and load those ships. You can't just sit there and go, oh, we'll just send them over there. It doesn't work like that. And what happens is when there's a bottleneck in any supply chain, it's like traffic. We're like, why can't we all, type 10 if you agree with this, why can't we all just go the same speed on the freeway? Serious? It's like, stop, go, stop. It's because of reaction times. So the first person that slows down, if the tool behind him wasn't paying attention, it was sitting on his cell phone or in a self-driving car, which I guess they're pretty fast. It sits there and they slam on their brakes and they slow at a higher rate of slowing. How do you like that? Than the first car. And then the next car does it. And the next car, before you know it, the guy 10 cars back is actually stopped. And then the reaction time to speed back up is the exact same thing in a different direction. This is how the supply chain works on a very easy basis. The contract between ILA and the United States Maritime Alliance, which negotiates on behalf of management of the ports, terminals, and shipping lines, is due to expire at midnight, September 30th. The contract covers 25,000 workers in ports stretching from Boston to Houston, the ILA said. Billions of dollars worth of imported goods, from cars and light trucks to electronics to food to clothing, jewelry, ag product, blah, 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 will be affected. And there's going to be a lot more affected than just that. Here, let's see what this headline says. Gen Z should not be fooled by K-pop's sudden seriousness. Isn't that weird? We go to a debate, and she's wearing some really funky earrings, and almost like they're speaking in her ear. And she's all of a sudden very serious, not a giggling tool, and things are changed. Really interesting. It'd be really cool. Just throwing this out there. She's not watching. If during the next debate, which I don't think is even going to happen, they stop and he goes, hey, can we ask her to remove her earrings since the debate started? Can we just I'll remove my earrings? It'd be great if he came out in a couple loops like a pirate. He's all, I'll take these bad boys off if she'll take her earrings off. Let's just make it even. and then she'll go back to a giggling tool. And it's true. So when it comes to these strikes, I believe you're going to see more and more of them. As a matter of fact, I said this a year ago. I said, you're going to start to see more and more strikes because employees do not understand what's really hurting their company. The unions definitely do not understand. They're not economists, and they're going to go fight for more money, and then their jobs are going to be lost because the company's going to more than likely lose. They're going to say, all right, we give in. We're going to pay you more. You've squeezed us. You threatened us. All okay, copy. And then we'll just start laying people off. We've seen many companies do this in the recent past, in just the last 2 or 3 years. I hope you got something out of this. Be very vigilant on who or really on top of who your union is backing, because one candidate is a business person, the other candidate is a puppet and a tool. And it's very scary, very, very scary. Let's just tax the rich. Remember, you're considered rich in their eyes. I don't care if you think you're rich or not. The government wants your money, the middle class. They want to destroy that because it's much easier to take over the government. Socialism moves into communism. And I know it sounds crazy because we're America, but you know what? If you don't see the writing on the wall that we're moving that way, and do me a favor, type 100 if you believe there is a movement of certain people that want to see America fall to the spirit of communism. I'd be typing 100 right now. I hope you got something out of this. Ninja is out.